Very interesting story. Luna harbored a fervent, unwavering dream deep within her heart, to speak English not just adequately, but with complete, effortless fluency. She envisioned herself confidently engaging in vibrant conversations, expressing complex thoughts without hesitation or fear. This aspiration was a constant, driving force, pushing her forward despite the numerous obstacles that inevitably appeared on her challenging linguistic journey towards mastery. For years, she diligently consumed English content, binge-watching popular TV shows, meticulously dissecting movie dialogues, and devouring best-selling novels. Yet, despite her unwavering dedication and consistent efforts, genuine improvement seemed frustratingly elusive. Her passive understanding grew, but active communication remained a formidable, seemingly insurmountable barrier, leaving her often feeling deeply disheartened and stalled. A nagging question constantly echoed in her mind, a persistent whisper of self-doubt: why I always make mistakes. This pervasive inquiry highlighted her profound frustration with seemingly endless grammatical errors and pronunciation slip-ups. Each stumble chipped away at her confidence, making her hesitant to even attempt speaking, fearing the inevitable judgment that might follow every imperfect utterance. The thought of initiating a conversation, even with a friendly native speaker, filled her with overwhelming dread and an acute sense of inadequacy. She agonized over how to take first step for talking, feeling paralyzed by the fear of embarrassment or misunderstanding. This crippling anxiety kept her trapped in a silent world, unable to unleash her accumulated vocabulary and grammar knowledge effectively. Furthermore, her listening skills, though improved, still felt like a leaky sieve. She could grasp individual words, sometimes even short phrases, but understanding rapid, natural conversation remained an immense challenge. It was akin to listening to music without truly hearing the melody, a disjointed experience that left her constantly struggling to keep up with the flow of discussions. Luna felt utterly stuck, hitting a frustrating plateau where progress seemed to halt entirely, despite her continuous, diligent efforts. She yearned for a breakthrough, a fresh perspective, anything that could propel her forward from this stagnant linguistic quagmire. The conventional methods simply weren't delivering the transformative results she desperately craved for her ambitious English journey. One particularly disheartening evening, while aimlessly scrolling through various language forums online, a peculiar headline abruptly caught her weary eye. It boldly proclaimed, "Learn English through stories, the revolutionary way to fluency." Intrigued by the audacious claim, a tiny spark of hope flickered within her, suggesting a potential alternative path forward. Her initial reaction was, predictably, a mix of skepticism and hesitant curiosity. Could something so seemingly simple truly unlock the complex puzzle of language acquisition? Despite her reservations, the intriguing concept resonated with her, offering a less rigid, more engaging approach. She decided, with a deep breath, to finally give this unconventional method a sincere try. The first story Luna chose was a charming tale about a brave, adventurous little mouse, embarking on an epic journey to find cheese. The narrative, though deceptively simple in its structure, was utterly captivating, drawing her into its whimsical world immediately. It felt less like a learning exercise and more like a delightful, immersive escape, surprisingly enjoyable and refreshing. She listened with unprecedented focus, not just hearing individual words, but actively immersing herself in the overall narrative, striving to grasp the characters' motivations and the unfolding plot. This active engagement was a stark contrast to her previous passive listening habits. The story's context helped her infer meanings, making vocabulary acquisition feel entirely organic and effortless. A profound realization dawned upon her. Learning through captivating stories made the entire process feel less like a laborious chore and considerably more like an enjoyable, enriching experience. The emotional connection she developed with the characters and their adventures transformed tedious grammar rules into living, breathing expressions, making retention significantly more effective and natural. The engaging plots and relatable characters within each narrative unexpectedly helped new vocabulary effortlessly stick to her memory. Words and phrases weren't isolated entities anymore. They were intrinsically woven into a meaningful, memorable context. This organic integration facilitated deeper understanding and significantly improved recall, making her language learning journey genuinely more pleasurable and effective. Next, her exploratory online search led her to an invaluable resource titled, "How to Improve Your Listening Skills: Unlock Native Speaker Speed." The article outlined practical, actionable techniques that went far beyond mere passive exposure. It emphasized deliberate, focused listening, rather than simply having English audio playing in the background as white noise. The core strategy involved active listening, paying meticulous attention to intonation, natural speech patterns, and the subtle nuances of spoken English. She learned to identify stress, rhythm, and the way words blended together in natural conversation. This deliberate focus dramatically enhanced her auditory comprehension, making complex sentences less intimidating and more digestible over time. Following the advice, she meticulously curated a playlist of podcasts specifically designed for intermediate English learners, varying in topics from daily life to fascinating scientific discoveries. She made it a steadfast ritual to listen to at least one episode every single day, integrating this crucial practice seamlessly into her busy daily routine and schedule. Not content with a single listen, she meticulously replayed episodes multiple times, each repetition revealing previously unnoticed words or intonations. This consistent, repetitive exposure slowly but surely allowed the rhythm and natural flow of the English language to seep into her subconscious, making it feel increasingly familiar and remarkably intuitive with every passing day. Gradually, her ears started performing linguistic acrobatics, distinguishing subtle differences in pronunciation that she had previously missed entirely. The indistinct mumble of native speakers began to morph into comprehensible words and phrases, much to her astonishment. This newfound clarity in auditory perception significantly boosted her confidence in understanding spoken English. Understanding complex, rapid-fire sentences became progressively less daunting and intimidating with this consistent, targeted exposure to authentic spoken English. The once impenetrable wall of fast conversation slowly crumbled, replaced by a growing ability to follow intricate discussions with relative ease. Her comprehension blossomed, allowing her to truly engage with spoken content. Despite these listening improvements, the biggest hurdle still remained her actual speaking ability. The peculiar suggestion of "how to talk at home to yourself" initially struck her as incredibly odd, perhaps even slightly eccentric. The idea of holding full conversations with herself felt unnatural and somewhat self-indulgent, yet it piqued her curiosity. Initially, the act of whispering English words to herself felt incredibly awkward, almost childish, and undeniably silly. She'd glance around, half expecting someone to walk in and catch her in the act, feeling a blush creep up her neck. This initial self-consciousness was a significant barrier to overcome, requiring considerable courage and self-acceptance. Undeterred by the initial awkwardness, she began with simple, almost mundane descriptions of her daily activities, narrating her every action aloud. "I am making coffee now. The water is boiling. It's a sunny morning," she'd murmur under her breath. This humble beginning laid the essential groundwork for more complex and fluent internal monologues. These quiet, solitary moments of self-narration slowly but surely transformed into lengthier, more elaborate sentences and even short, coherent paragraphs. She progressed from simply describing objects to articulating her thoughts, opinions, and feelings about various topics. This incremental progression was a significant step toward spontaneous and fluid self-expression. Gradually, these internal monologues, once hesitant whispers, transformed into surprisingly full, flowing conversations with herself. She found herself discussing her day, planning her week, and even debating hypothetical scenarios entirely in English. This consistent practice built remarkable fluency and drastically reduced her reliance on mental translation. She even began having lively, intellectual debates with herself on controversial topics, playfully taking on both sides of an argument. This dynamic mental exercise challenged her to articulate complex ideas, formulate counterarguments, and use a wider range of vocabulary, significantly sharpening her critical thinking and verbal dexterity. This consistent, judgment-free self-dialogue proved to be an unexpected game-changer, building her confidence brick by linguistic brick. It effectively removed the crushing fear of judgment from others, as she was her own most forgiving audience. Each mistake became a private learning opportunity, not a public embarrassment, fostering genuine linguistic growth. She fully realized that mistakes made alone, within the privacy of her own home, were invaluable learning opportunities, not embarrassing failures. There was no one to correct her immediately, allowing her to experiment freely with new vocabulary and grammatical structures. This freedom accelerated her learning curve dramatically, fostering fearless exploration. Her once passive vocabulary, previously recognized but rarely utilized, started becoming remarkably active through repeated, deliberate usage in her self-talk. Words she knew intellectually now flowed effortlessly from her lips, integrating seamlessly into her spontaneous speech. This transition from passive recognition to active production was truly revolutionary. Furthermore, her pronunciation, once a source of constant anxiety, steadily improved as she repeatedly heard her own voice and independently corrected her intonation and articulation. Listening back to her recorded self-talk became an effective self-assessment tool, highlighting areas for refinement and reinforcing correct phonetic patterns over time. The true breakthrough came when she consciously stopped focusing solely on achieving grammatical correctness, instead wholeheartedly embracing the pursuit of overall fluency. She understood that communicating her message effectively was paramount, even if it wasn't perfectly pristine. This shift in mindset liberated her, allowing ideas to flow more naturally and spontaneously. "Very interesting story," she mused to herself, reflecting on her own remarkable English journey that was steadily unfolding before her very eyes. From initial frustration to burgeoning confidence, her path was a testament to the power of unconventional, consistent practice. She understood that her personal narrative was an ongoing, evolving success story. Luna made it a steadfast ritual, a short, captivating story in the morning to awaken her linguistic senses, followed by spontaneous self-talk during her daily chores and errands. Her commute became dedicated listening practice, filled with engaging podcasts. This consistent, integrated approach transformed her learning into an intuitive, enjoyable, daily habit. Consistency, she firmly believed, was the undisputed king in this arduous, yet ultimately profoundly rewarding, language learning process. It wasn't about sudden bursts of intense study, but rather the cumulative effect of small, sustained efforts every single day. Her dedication became her most powerful ally on this transformative journey. The persistent, nagging question, "Why I always make mistakes," which had once plagued her, began to subtly fade into the background noise of her linguistic journey. She accepted that making errors was an inherent, natural part of the learning curve, a sign of active engagement rather than a failure to be avoided. Mistakes were no longer perceived as embarrassing obstacles but rather invaluable stepping stones towards greater linguistic accuracy and fluency. Each misstep provided crucial feedback, illuminating areas requiring further attention and practice. This positive reframing transformed her perception of errors from crippling deterrents to essential components of growth. She meticulously documented her progress, noting down newly acquired phrases, improved conversational flow, and instances where she managed to express complex thoughts effortlessly. This tangible evidence of her growth fueled her motivation, providing clear indicators of how far she had come from her initial struggles with basic communication. Her confidence soared to unprecedented heights, empowering her to bravely initiate conversations with native English speakers online through language exchange platforms. The fear of awkward silences or miscommunications, once paralyzing, had significantly diminished, replaced by a genuine eagerness to connect and practice her burgeoning skills with real people. The fear of being judged for imperfect grammar or a distinct accent slowly, but surely, dissipated entirely. She realized that most native speakers appreciated her effort and willingness to communicate far more than they cared about minor linguistic imperfections. Their encouragement further boosted her self-assurance and determination. She enthusiastically embraced her unique voice and accent, understanding profoundly that absolute perfection was an unrealistic and ultimately stifling goal anyway. True communication, she learned, lay in connection and mutual understanding, not in flawless pronunciation or textbook grammar. This acceptance brought an immense sense of liberation. Her friends and family, observing her remarkable transformation, couldn't help but notice the profound improvement in her English proficiency. Her conversations were more fluid, her understanding sharper, and her overall confidence radiated brightly. They were genuinely impressed by her dedication and the visible, tangible results she had achieved. Naturally, they began asking, with genuine curiosity, how to improve your English. Luna, with newfound enthusiasm, eagerly shared her unconventional, yet highly effective, methods and strategies. She became an impromptu mentor, guiding others through the same journey she had so successfully navigated herself. She passionately emphasized the transformative power of listening actively, stressing the importance of engaging with the content, not just passively hearing words in the background. It was about discerning meaning, capturing nuances, and truly absorbing the rhythm and intonation of native speech patterns for deeper comprehension. And, of course, she passionately advocated for the immense benefits of talking to yourself, even if it felt strange or peculiar initially. She assured them that this private, judgment-free practice was a cornerstone of her progress, fostering spontaneous expression and building essential speaking stamina without external pressure. Luna became an ardent advocate for the "learn English through stories" approach, championing its immersive, engaging power to make language acquisition enjoyable and natural. She highlighted how narratives provided rich context for vocabulary and grammar, making learning feel less like study and more like an adventure. The vivid imagery, compelling characters, and intricate plots embedded within each story made vocabulary retention incredibly natural and remarkably effective for her. Learning new words became an exciting discovery within a narrative, rather than a dry list to memorize, significantly enhancing her overall linguistic absorption. Her journey powerfully demonstrated that taking the very first, terrifying step for talking is indeed often the hardest and most daunting part for almost everyone. Overcoming that initial inertia, that profound fear of speaking, was the pivotal moment that unlocked her true linguistic potential. But once that formidable barrier of fear was courageously broken, a vast, limitless world of communication and connection miraculously opened up before her. The possibilities for genuine interaction, cultural exchange, and intellectual engagement suddenly became endless, transforming her entire perspective on language learning. Luna's inspiring story stands as a powerful testament to the remarkable results achievable through unwavering perseverance, strategically applied smart methods, and an unshakable dedication to one's linguistic goals. Her journey epitomizes the transformative power of consistent effort and an open mind. She unequivocally proved that anyone, regardless of their starting point or previous struggles, can overcome their English-speaking fears and ultimately achieve genuine fluency. It's a journey of self-discovery, resilience, and consistent small victories that accumulate into significant progress over time. The undeniable key, she often reiterated, lies not merely in diligently focusing on the elusive final destination of perfect fluency, but crucially, in finding immense joy and fulfillment within the entire learning process itself. Each small victory, each new word, was a reason to celebrate. And perhaps most importantly, remembering that every single mistake is simply a valuable lesson cleverly disguised as a temporary setback, an opportunity for growth. Mistakes are not failures but stepping stones, guiding you closer to your ultimate linguistic aspirations with every correction and refinement. Her English talking practice had evolved from a dreaded, awkward chore into a genuinely enjoyable, deeply ingrained daily habit she looked forward to. The act of expressing herself became a source of pleasure and empowerment, rather than a cause for anxiety and self-doubt. She truly believed, with every fiber of her being, that consistent, immersive practice, even when conducted entirely alone, yields absolutely remarkable and undeniable results over time. Self-study, when approached strategically, could be just as effective, if not more so, than formal lessons. So, if you're currently asking yourself the profound question, how to improve your English, look deeply inward, embrace your unique learning style, and most importantly, start speaking today. The journey begins with that courageous first word, spoken aloud, even if only to yourself. The answers often lie not in rigidly following traditional textbooks, but in exploring unconventional methods and wholeheartedly embracing your own personal learning style and preferences. What works for one person might not work for another. Self-awareness is paramount for sustainable progress. Luna's vibrant, compelling story now inspires countless other aspiring English learners to courageously embark on their own unique and transformative language adventure. Her journey serves as a beacon of hope and a practical roadmap for those feeling lost or disheartened in their linguistic pursuits. From hesitant, barely audible whispers of initial self-talk to confidently engaging in lively, spontaneous conversations, her personal transformation was truly inspiring and deeply motivational to everyone around her. She exemplified what consistent effort and smart strategies could achieve. Her journey eloquently highlights that learning English transcends mere grammatical rules and vocabulary lists. It is fundamentally about the profound power of effective communication. It's about connecting with people, sharing ideas, and understanding diverse perspectives across cultures. And, ultimately, it's about experiencing the profound sense of liberation and freedom that comes with effortlessly expressing your nuanced thoughts, intricate ideas, and heartfelt emotions globally. Language truly unlocks a world of boundless possibilities and unprecedented personal growth. A truly very interesting story, indeed, filled with invaluable insights and a powerful, enduring message for all aspiring language learners worldwide. Courageously embrace the process, celebrate small victories, and never stop speaking, even if only to yourself initially.